to get into it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go into herO versus Classic. In the upper left, the red Protoss player. He is
Triumphant Song Gaming, herO.
Really put out just an amazing series against Raynor. Definitely could have won that. He's in great form right now. He's really underrated, I think, in this group.
And his opponent putting up a fantastic fight earlier against herO Marine. He is
Makers, Classic.
You know, I think a lot of people obviously look up to Classic, respect what he's done within the scene over the years. This guy, he has so many different championships. He has like an IEM, he has a GSL, he has an SSL, he has 2 BlizzCon top 4s already under his belt, right? He's done everything. He's just done everything. And he had a killer first part of this year, but I feel like his second part of this year, not as killer.
Yeah,
you know,
it kind of comes into the story of you know, GSL versus the world in the more broad sense of the Korean players going up against the non-Koreans. And last couple of years, we talked about, oh wow, Laser made it pretty far, and then last year, Cyril's dominance and taking the world championship, and this year, well, we've got the non-Koreans winning the groups now as well. So you're looking at we are in a world where the 2 Korean players in this group are in the loser match, and as good as, no matter how good you are, that's a tough thing to be. And there you go. PvP is serious and strategical. Well, I apologize. I can't believe I would attempt to have fun with this series.
It is never a meme.
It's very serious business.
Yes. There won't be anything silly that we see here.
Well,
like pylons outside your opponent's natural or anything.
I just watched
like
a probe get tased to death by an assimilator Artosis. It's a little silly, at least a little bit.
Well, look at that. Is that not Classic's natural?
It is surprisingly close to the blue Protoss player's base, Artosis.
Yes, indeed.
Perhaps
Let's see what he puts there. Oh my god, I love it.
So perhaps some maleficent intent with this.
Some maleficent intent. Well,
and immediately spotted.
Definitely not a meme, definitely serious.
That is unfortunate to say the least.
That is, yes, very much so. Of course, Classic has his own pylon out there, but just kind of a hidden one. Looks like, I mean, he's going to cancel the gateway for sure, of course.
Yeah, there's no world where you get anything done with that.
Yeah. He's going to see, though, if he can get this up there.
Yeah, so he throws the Adept Shade up. I guess keeping the gate to the final moments, you at least have vision of the Stalkers for a little bit longer, right?
Yeah. Nexus goes down immediately.
And both players with Robotics Facility follow-ups here, so no weird early Stargate shenanigans or anything of that sort. herO gets on the map pretty quickly with his Stalkers, actually.
And then herO throws down the Nexus. Okay.
Okay, he just turns around and goes home.
Yeah, I was wondering a little bit about that. Prism on the way. Of course, Classic getting his Immortal out right away. Looks like he's playing very, very carefully here, which I think is probably the right thing to do against herO.
Yeah, would you agree? herO's a bit more the trickster in this matchup.
Oh, he's like pure aggression is the thing, and it's like this. I've been kind of working on this theory of Protoss and who's good at Protoss at a given moment. I've mentioned a couple times, but like herO's starting to peak again when we see Protoss actually falling off. But when Protoss is doing really well, it's all about like stats and Classic. So, you know, mixing in these type of aggressive plays, it's just like this is his style.
Yeah, he's always given me some, and I guess in like from like a comparative sense, like some Maru-ish vibes where it's like a lot of X Factor based strategies where maybe it's not the most efficient or the best particular build that he's doing, but his execution has always been so good, and his ability to get inside of his opponent's head is where you see herO really get a lot of domination, which brings me back a little bit as well to Raynor's interview after their series earlier, where he's like, yeah, I was like, oh, I figured he would attack me, right? So I was like, on all the games where I could just defend, I felt like that was my only chance of being able to win, was just executing a really good defense. The action is about to heat up over here. We got prisms flying around Artosis.
Yeah, Classic going for a pretty heavy attack here. herO, in the meantime, does have, I think, a couple of depths in the main base of Classic, so Classic's starting to lose a few probes already.
Yeah, and this is going to put a little bit of the pressure on him to do something with that army. Of course, just recalling here would be a net loss, so you do want to get some damage done, but there aren't any probes to kill down here in the natural expansion for herO. He's just going to hold the top of this ramp and doesn't feel too pressured just yet. Oh, good force fields on that Immortal would be a really good pickup.
Well, he gets a single stalker with that disruption hit. But I got to tell you, I feel like 6 probes is worth getting a Nexus and a Pylon and an Immortal, right?
Yeah.
Pretty fairly certain of that.
I may not be a Protoss player, Artosis, but I will agree with you on this point. Shades the Adepts up to try and go for the Sentries, it looks like. He's able to force field a few of the Stalkers up there, but having his own Immortal and that Prism really gives Classic a lot of micro potential against this army.
Yeah, it does indeed. Look at this. Classic warping in some more Stalkers here. I mean, if you don't get perfect Disruptor hits, you are done. You are dead, and that's it. GG. Wow. Classic very quickly bowling herO over. herO kind of with a little bit of a wonky build there.
And yeah, I can't say I hate the idea behind it.
Yeah.
I think the Immortal getting pinched off that fast, you lose your ability to stand your ground. There were no shield batteries up there either, so it was like, okay, yeah, we're just going to fight with the units we have. Well, Immortals are really good in PvP.
Yeah.
The Disruptor did not kill anything, so to your point, the Nexus, not worth the 6 probes that he was able to get. Not worth the game.
It's too bad, because if he had the Prism at home, he holds his ramp, right?
Yeah.
Because the Immortal doesn't die, he can kind of just juggle things. And then suddenly you're sitting on Disruptor tech, you've killed enough probes that the second Nexus isn't actually making your economy worse for the moment. And we could have maybe had a game there, but Classic, just some killer instinct in game number 1.
Yep, really well done. Well played. Good awareness, by the way, worth mentioning. Just you understand the reputation of your opponent, you understand what they're capable of. He checks around his base early on. He found that proxy.
That's true.
You know, he didn't give herO an opportunity to do what he wanted to do in that game. And even such things as simple as like getting that probe kill in his main early. It's just nice.
Classic is a monster in PvP. We'll see if he can take map number 2 here on Disco Bloodbath.
All right, the game is ready. We're going to get into it now. It's time for map 2 for herO versus Classic. And on the west side of Disco Bloodbath, our aggressive Red Protoss player down 0-1.
Triumphant Song Gaming, herO.
Not fazed by that loss.
He's been in intense situations before. He faces off against the blue Protoss on the east side. He is
Makers, Classic.
And now we wait. Looks like, oh, look at what Classic's up to.
There's a little bit of variation here, at least early on Artosis.
Yeah, the wall down here. Let's see if he goes for a second gate or just sits on one, but obviously going for quite a fast expansion here.
What does it all mean, Artosis? What is he? Is it just to try to wall that off up the front, I guess, if he wants to just expand quickly?
He'll probably do a full wall and try to just hold on against whatever his opponent does here. He's basically playing PvZ at the moment.
Feels a bit brave to do against herO, the guy who just tried to proxy you as well, but maybe feeling a momentum reset.
Oh, totally. You know, the thing is, when I see someone do a build like this, where they're expanding really, really quickly and utilizing a wall, the first thing that pops into your mind will generally be something like, oh, but it's PvP, he should be able to kill him. And then you think, oh, wait a minute. If a professional gamer is doing this, a professional e-gamer, Nate, if you will,
e-gamer,
then they really have it planned out. Like, Classic knows all the common things you'll try to use to kill him here. So, I mean, does herO have something up his pocket that's going to surprise Classic?
You know, I agree with you. I like that breakdown because conversely, you would say, how often does herO play against this, right? He's going to just now get his first inkling of what's happening. And he started a Stargate back home. So that doesn't really set you up for any sort of like killing blow against your opponent. Like, you can do harass, but it's a lot more counterable for an economic build to get like a shield battery in your base against oracles and just get out a few units versus that, and he's going to drop this pylon.
I love it.
Just to spot what comes out of the Stargate?
I think he's just making sure that it finishes, but I mean, there is a possibility he lets it live, and just, he's like, okay, yeah, let's see. But it looks like herO's plan. Excuse me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, that's big brain. He knows the range of the building pylon's vision.
Oh, yeah.
Just to make sure he can see that that Stargate's not canceled.
Well, he really wants to make sure that he actually knows what's going on. So he's actually throwing out his own Stargate. So we'll see if he can actually counter herO pretty hard there. But herO's taking his own Nexus. We'll see if he gets anything done, but it's hard to imagine him being able to do any damage here, right? What are those Adepts going to get through that wall? Nope. What is that? Oracle going to do something against a shield battery and soon a Phoenix?
Nothing.
Don't think so.
Absolutely not, Artosis. So at the end of the day, we like this build for Classic. That is a really good setup for him. He's gotten away with a pretty greedy economic build. Probe count looking mighty fine. And as you said, that Oracle really shouldn't be able to accomplish much of anything at all. And herO's first, or excuse me, his first thing he's going to see here as he flies in is going to be that Phoenix coming out soon, which he should be worried about. So he's going to go for the Stasis Ward instead. That's cute. You're trying to salvage a messy situation.
Yeah, well, you see the shield battery there, and you know you're not. What are you going to do? Running out of energy? You may as well cause some mining loss at least. But right now he's down 8 workers.
Yeah, that's not good.
8 workers. It's not just 8 workers, but there's 8 workers on other patches.
Oh man, I need to use my phone a friend on Rotterdam now. We have a second Stargate coming out. Is this going to be one of those games, Artosis? I've tried to play Protoss sometimes. People do this to me, and I'm like, I have no idea. It's so volatile to go up against this double Stargate strategy if it turns into like Mega Phoenix.
Yeah, well, if they're both going Phoenixes, I mean, all you got to do is check how many Phoenixes that they both have, right? Obviously, with the quicker second Stargate, that's good for herO, but Phoenixes were started slightly earlier on Classic, so he's going to have the lead for a little bit until we get a couple rounds out of the second one.
Yeah, and this is it's so scary, right? Because if you get blindsided by this with your Phoenix across the map, and you have that inferior count, it could be a little bit like Muta versus Muta, where the player that has just a few more just wins very handily, crosses the map, and you're just dead because you can't build anything.
Yeah. Well, you see, he's about to have 4, so that's going to put him up above this 3. We already had Classic stop making them, which is actually good for him that he stopped making them, because otherwise you just have a few less Phoenixes and you get completely wrecked. But look at this. He gets on top of him. Beautiful move here by herO. Even micros one back. The dive in from Classic to kill one, but he loses 3 of them for killing 1.
And let's see what he's going to make his follow-up here then. If he's going to continue to pour into that Phoenix production, get a ton of them out. I don't know what is the follow-up to this. Does he just keep building Phoenix?
Yeah, I think you build him for a bit. You see the Stargates coming up, but he saw Phoenix production as well, so I think he'll make even extras. But you want to have enough that you can get in and really screw with their economy, and then you can just go into like Immortals.
Okay. And as far as my PvP knowledge goes, the Immortal Charge Lot Archon composition is still very strong on the ground in this matchup.
Yeah, indeed. Well, when your opponent is forced into... Oh my god, that was almost a really sick Stasis Ward. But yeah, I mean, once... Oh, look at this.
Almost got stuck against the previously Stasis probe.
Yeah.
I like that. Oh no, your Prism.
Ooh, what a sick kill right there. Well, you saw the Prism. He sees another Robo going. Or wait, no, he's the one making a Robo. That's the Templar Archives. Yeah. But even more harassment here from here. I gotta say, I really like his position.
Yeah, that Oracle putting in some overtime. But yeah, I mean, you got map control, right? You shut down the Prism, which is nice. And that follow-up into double robotics facility, well, you've already got the air game on point. So just start cranking out Immortals, and they kill pretty much everything. And I think at that point, the only thing you need to be a little bit careful of is when the Charge Zealots come into play.
Yeah.
But the map awareness that the Phoenix give you should be enough, right?
Yeah, I mean, you just play this slow as herO, in my opinion, right? You wait for that critical mass, because it really looks like what Classic is going to do is just mass up gateway units. You know, utilize a bunch of charge Zealots, get some Archons in there so that the Phoenixes aren't as strong, and obviously he's had to make a fair amount of Stalkers, so maybe Blink later on. But if you're herO and you just Chrono Boost out upgrades and continually make Immortals, when is that army not going to be better? Like, when you get towards max supply, there's just no way that your Immortals are not going to make that difference.
Yeah, Immortals are pretty good. We do have High Templar here that would normally be used for the Archons. Goes for the feedback, but the energy is actually spent before the Stasis Ward completes, so he's actually not able to cancel that or kill the Oracle, and he gets quite a few probe stasis. Phoenix are going to come in and pick off another 5 probes on their way out. Economic devastation for the player who had the greedier opening.
Well, 21 probes falling. He's down a good 6 workers at the moment, not even fully saturated after that harassment. And it looks like herO going to continue up that tech tree. Probably into Colossus, I would say.
He certainly doesn't have to worry about anything in the air. Those Adepts make their way towards the main. Good warp-in micro to block that spot, so those Adepts cannot actually get into the probe line. I guess if we're looking for silver linings, he still has the High Templar as they are, I guess presumably for feedback, so he doesn't get the Immortals lifted. But he's also got the attack upgrade. +2 is coming in, so he wants to try and do something here. Got to keep that Prism alive.
Easier said than done. He loses a unit inside of it, unfortunately. And most of the Phoenix end up living. There is no real attack here for Classic.
It's so hard to do with the, if you shut down the Prism, like just not having the reinforcement warp-ins when your opponent has that defender's advantage is incredibly strong. Perhaps the biggest strength of Protoss being able to reinforce like that with the Prism. You absolutely need it there.
Well, he's coming back home, trying to chase these Phoenixes away while taking that 3rd Nexus. Obviously, the 3rd Nexus going up right now for herO as well. Continues to work on his composition.
Double disruptor. Well, I guess he doesn't have to worry about his disruptors being lifted, right? So
no, that's certainly true. And he is a disruptor player too. Like herO has always really liked the disruptor ever since it came out. So not a big surprise to see that, even though I look at a game like this and feel like the Colossus could be a little bit more useful.
And he doesn't have, I think he's got a charge for the Zealots. Does he have Blink? Like, he's got a decent number of Stalkers in here that could be, we could see some PvP bowling soon, Artosis.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. No, I don't think he has Blink, so that could make it a little bit more difficult. He does have that +2 attack, which is pretty sick, though.
Yeah, now the Disruptors are going to come out. This would be the first sign of them, and some pretty big shots there. A lot of Stalkers going down. The Archons can tank a hit, but a lot of the shields will be peeled off from that. And this just gets awkward, Artosis, because he's already chunked out a huge amount of this army. Do you think he'll be able to get this 3rd base?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it because there's nothing that steps on force fields here.
Right.
So that's actually extra hilarious. I hadn't even thought of that, but he's literally just making him stay up in his base.
He's just force fielding. Okay, so he actually bring the Archons down the ramp, gets them with the Purification Nova. Phoenix come back and kill the Prism, and this army just can't really run away from the Disruptor shot, so all he can do is just face tank it, and that is not going to be the recipe for success here.
No, and that should be right? I mean, Classic lost absolutely everything. He killed nothing.
He has 1 Archon and 1 Stalker.
Yeah, he like damaged a Nexus, and what else did he do?
Yeah, I think he. No, yeah, I think that's about it.
Yeah, no,
that's
he
about
did
it,
damage
Artosis.
that Nexus.
He is building a 2nd Stargate. It may be too little, too late for the Phoenix counter to the Disruptors. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not looking all that good.
No. I think we are going to see Classic have to GG pretty soon here. Look at this. We even have the Speed Prism out here.
Your Charge Zealots can't run fast enough.
Classic trying so hard right now. Losing only 4 of the Zealots, but still not much left here.
Yeah, and that's you the next warp-in right in your face, but at some point, that is just not going to be enough. He recalls the good amount to deal with that Prism and the Archons there, but there's still way too much army in his face to really deal with this. herO's showing a pretty tremendous amount of respect to what Classic has, which, frankly speaking, is not a lot.
No, he's being really careful. And honestly, both of these players are planning on going to the military very, very soon, and this is probably their last big event.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I get it. They're both just like, okay, I do not want to lose. I don't want last place in my last World Championship.
Absolutely not. Next, the rest of the army is coming over, gets a good chip away on the Zealots there, but with Immortals, with the Phoenix, with the Disruptors, and so many Stalkers, like these Charged Zealots are just not going to be enough. Doing really good Blink Micro and staying as cost-effective as possible is herO. Just, it's hard to see a world where he loses this. +3 attack is nice for Classic, but 103 army supply to 62 is a pretty tremendous swing. He does have Phoenix over here to try and do something with the disruptors, but there's just too much from herO, it looks like, getting on top of this army. There's all the Purification Novas coming into the Archons, and they are dead, Artosis.
Yeah, the Phoenixes, they don't have anything left in them, and herO gonna take game number 2, GG. The series is tied up.
Interesting game there. I mean, things look really nice. Classic had definitely a good build to open up with. He was able to get really far ahead economically, dealt with the Stargate very effectively.
Yeah.
But herO just, he made that committed decision to get the second Stargate when he did, and those it paid off in a big way for him.
Well, those Phoenixes really won it for him because Classic countered what herO was doing with the Phoenixes against the Oracles, but then he got countered, right? He just kind of kept jumping forward in tech. He wanted to get out a big ground army pretty quickly there. And unfortunately for him, herO out-mind gaming, which is something that herO is really phenomenal at.
The double down on the strategy that had been countered. Yeah, I know, you make a really good point, Classic. Probably didn't think that if he was going to try something else, it would be that of all options when he was already countered in the skies.
Well, normally when you go Oracles and your opponent goes Phoenixes, the dumbest thing you can do is try to catch up in Phoenixes. So
yeah. All right, well, let's see what happens in game number 3. It's all tied up here. herO versus Classic. In the upper left, we have the red Protoss bringing it back, tying things up. He is
Triumphant Song Gaming, herO.
the strong mind games. And last one.
against this player. In the bottom right, our blue Protoss. He is
Makers Classic.
Course Classic, such a solid player in PvP. Definitely one of our strongest ever in the matchup.
Yeah, it still blows my mind that, like, if you were to have a group like this just a few years ago, you're like, oh yeah, this is the winner's match, pretty expected, right? We'll see which one of the Korean Protosses gets out in first place, who's got to go up against Maru or Dark. But one of these two is going to be eliminated. Crazy. The shame, even the fear being felt in the crowd by the fans of these Protoss players.
And Ragnarok knowing that things are looking grim right now. The circuit really doing a great job here at the Global Finals.
Yeah. That was a sign of what the Korean casters, those guys are so awesome. They're right over there by us. TY is here. Artosis TY is here.
I know. He's casting just like you. He's no better than you.
I've just been fanboying him this whole entire time. He comes in, he's like, oh, Nate, can you pass me the coffee? And I'm like losing my mind, like, I don't deserve to be next to you.
Yeah. You know what he was telling me?
What?
You're his favorite caster.
Don't lie to me, Tosis. Don't lie to me. Don't you put that evil on me. No.
And then he got his BC builds from you, Nate, from your stream. He lurks.
If only the viewers could see how red my face is right now. Tosis, I can't take this. Oh, he got the robot. Okay, so it's like, it's not in his base, but it's also not in the face of his opponent. Classic's just kind of extended his robotics facility.
Yeah, it's like out there so it can't be scouted and a little bit proxied, but not so close that it's going to get found. That's like a spot that, I mean, when are you going to scout there?
Why would you go there?
You might get, you know, you're going to be 150 supply before you're there.
Yeah.
Stargate over there for herO, who has already made his Nexus as well. I got to say, I look at these two builds, I really like Classic's position comparatively, especially if he goes for the quick Prism as opposed to an Immortal. I can't imagine you ever holding that expansion as herO. It just goes down.
You don't think like an Oracle coming out of the Stargate would get enough done
Well,
versus just a quick Immortal?
It can get a lot done, but you're going to have so many units across the map that you should be able to just break your opponent, right? You have the Prism, so they can't really force field the ramp or anything. You're going to have an Immortal and like 6-7 Stalkers. The Oracle will run out of energy eventually. Whereas
That's fair.
the Immortal in the Prism, I don't know if you've noticed this, but yeah, it doesn't die.
Yeah, no, you're right. Those are pretty good. He is getting a shield battery in his mineral line. And the hallucinated Phoenix, I don't think he saw the proxy, right? So you go into the main and you're like, oh, this looks pretty normal. This is PvP, I guess.
Sure.
But that is not the case. So those units they've taken over the watchtower south of the 3rd. but getting jumped here by that Immortal Prism is going to be quite tricky.
Yeah.
Has he sniffed something out? He has 2 shield batteries up in the main base.
Yeah, I think he's starting to feel that something could be amiss, and he's definitely right about that. Here we go, the push going forward, even a Sentry coming up to join. I mean, those 2 batteries, we'll see if that's enough.
He does have it's a weird position as well, because you've got the Nexus up front that he's got to play around. You don't want to lose that, but with an attack like this, it really is sometimes just about surviving. He's going to go for the Stasis Ward to try and get these probes. No reaction! That's all of his probes!
Oh my god,
right,
that's the best Stasis Ward of all time!
You really couldn't ask for anything better than that. I'd hate to see the income tab right now, because it must be one of the saddest things on Earth.
His minerals aren't going up! Okay, they're unfrozen. They're
That's
going
tremendous. That is fantastic. I think
that
if
is.
1 probe was still there. I mean, this is still a pretty big push to have to deal with multiple shield batteries. There is the factor of time that is going to play into this for herO to get up that defense. His own robotics facility is finishing up, and the second Oracle comes in. Is going to just punch through the Stalker, even in front of the shield battery. Does have a Phoenix that he rallied back home to lift up the Immortal, and that's going to allow him to fight against those ground gateway units before it times out and drops back to the ground.
But he's targeting that Immortal there for a little bit, chewing through the shields, but taking a ton of damage, even though he's killing so much.
There's only 1 pylon here on these shield batteries, so he's able to grab that Artosis. And unfortunately, I mean, the weird thing is he's got this, all these units are fighting against each other, but the Phoenix is just right-clicked onto that Warp Prism, and he will be able to bring it down, so the micro potential drops. But we've got 8 probes versus 7, and there's an Immortal in his base.
Yeah, but he has a Phoenix, he has a few units, and he has an Immortal about to pop out. Look at this, the Immortal on the Immortal!
Oh,
he's gonna get it!
Low. He right-clicks. No, not able. The Bifrost not fast enough to save those units. And what do you do now? He's stuck inside his base. There's 2
probes
Oracles
against 9?
This has got to be like a win for herO, right? Am I crazy?
Yeah.
He's with the defensive Immortal Phoenix, and he's got 2 Oracles on the map.
Yeah. He's gonna walk that Immortal across the map now. That's what he's gotta do. Here he comes! Oh, that's his. Okay,
That's
never mind.
He's like, oh, well, that
wow,
guy.
he really is just sending 1 Mortal across the map. That's crazy.
I meant to rally this into a pace, but it seems it would have arrived a little bit late. Oh, imagine the Oracle's just looking for a snack there. I mean,
do you try to kill that? No.
I would. I would try. I would go.
Yeah.
I'd lose the game doing it, but
use up all your Oracle energy. You're like, yeah, no, I guess that doesn't work.
I'm like, I can kill them. Oracles have infinite DPS. Then you remember Barrier, and you're like, my energy's a little low.
Infinite DPS versus infinite health. Okay, so where are we at right now?
We got reset to Heart of the Swarm, and when they get to 14 workers, the game begins.
Yeah, there you go. All right, that Phoenix follows it home, checking out what's going on. Both these guys have done so much damage to each other.
Oh, so the Phoenix comes in, draws attention away, and the Oracle's trying to grab a probe or 2, but actually really good response there. I feel like in this position, especially losing any workers is so devastating.
Yeah.
But the other thing as well that now is going to become a part of this game is he lost his robotics facility. So it's not like he can build any more Immortals. He can't get a Warp Prism. He can't get Observers. He is as stuck as you could be.
That's a really good point. Like, think about this, right? If herO just continually, because he hasn't pinned with the 2 Oracles. Like, as long as you have the 2 Oracles and you remind him every now and then that you have 2 Oracles, he's not leaving. So if you just make more Immortals than your opponent has, and like, I don't know, a Warp Prism, you should be able to really put the screws on your opponent.
You just go kill him. He has the 1 Immortal. You have the 1 Phoenix, or I guess the Phoenix. I'm not sure. I think the Phoenix might have died, but you have the potential to just use that control. Okay, with the Phoenix still alive, you could try to force an engagement at some point and just lift up the 1 Immortal that he has, even if for a moment.
But we have a Stargate going up for Classic. What is it? Now let's just see the reverse, okay? Let's see Classic try to put down a Nexus, then fly 2 Oracles over and kill all the probes in his opponent's base while he's getting wrecked.
Well, my head would explode at that point, Artosis, but it would be awesome. I'm not... So the weird thing is, right, because he's getting this Prism now, and he has the 2 Immortals. So this is the moment to make the attack, and presumably with a couple of Warpins, I guess they would be Stalkers here. If he can't get out Phoenix to deal with the Oracles, like all of his forces combined should just win if they're all able to fight, right?
Yeah, that's what you would think, but Classic, like, figured out that he was going to go Immortal Prism, which obviously makes sense in this type of situation. So he's making a Phoenix, which means if he gets one volley off on this, you won't be able to recall it, right? You'll have to drop everything out because the Phoenix is going to be right-clicked on it, right?
Right.
So things could go very wrong here in a moment.
God, Starcraft is so hard. Okay, the Immortals are going to drop inside the main base. They're going for the pylon powering the gateways. There's the Graviton beam to focus down the first Immortal. You cannot pick that up with the Prism when it's stuck like that. Just barely drops down, but not able to pick it up. And the next Phoenix does come out. Oracle tries to drop the Stasis Trap and gets just a stun.
Wow. Classic.
Okay, all of a sudden, Classic is starting to take control here.
Yeah. And he's up 2 workers at this point. So
he has a second Nexus, Artosis.
Yeah.
That's pretty heckin' sweet.
Wow. Just such a beautiful play getting that Stargate. It's such a weird situation, but he really nailed the most likely thing to happen to him. Because really, I mean, that's what I was thinking. Wow, why not just go with Immortals? Like, go get him.
Yeah, and it's crazy too, because if this wasn't such a low eco game, like if he was able to just squeeze out a few Warpins with that and like attack at the front with some Stalkers, it doesn't work in that way. If he could fight with everything at once, but that's not the way it went. Really good response by Classic. It's mind-blowing trying to like just process what's happening.
No, it's very, very hard. Oh my God, he scouts at Phoenixes are under production.
And he's building another Stargate.
Yeah. So now we're getting back into something like we saw in the first game where they're kind of mind-gaming each other who's making Phoenixes. Now, will Classic double down on Phoenixes?
Classic just goes straight for 3 Stargates. Turns into a weird NA game. Oh boy.
I want to see it.
I do like the quick response to try and get this. If you can get this pylon without losing anything, and he's got everything here, this is really nice because you're taking away the one trick he was trying to go for. He does get that Phoenix out, but it's back to even production. I think he... No, he actually stopped building Phoenix. Goodbye, Oracle.
How many does herO actually have? Does he just have 4? And he's up against 6 right now? You can't do that. That's like worse than having no Phoenixes. 5 against 7, okay.
Nope. And only 1 Stalker. So those sentries are not going to be the game changers.
Yeah. Well, we're going to see in a moment here if he wants to add another tech building. I feel like you have to as herO.
Classic Scott, he still had that worker lead for quite a while, especially with how much earlier that second Nexus was. Nice to have the extra Chrono Boost energy from having had that earlier too, for getting out whatever else he wants. But once again, herO says, I am going to triple down on this. now that it makes even less sense for me to try and match your Phoenix count, I'm going to hard commit to this and yet again go back up to 2 Stargates.
I'm loving it. Okay, the Phoenix is flying in right now. Oh my God, he can just kill everything. Look at this, picking up anything he wants right now. Of course, as the Phoenixes come up, you have to be a little bit more careful. It gets rid of all the Guardian Shield.
Yep, removing the sentries from play is very big there. And he sees the second Stargate completing. So he knows, he is now aware again that it's double Stargate. But he's like, okay, well, I've got that extra resource income from earlier. I'm just going to put that into gateway units and try to make something happen right here. There's plenty of energy still on Classic's Phoenix to just try and lift stuff up after the air battle is over, too.
Look at these weird armies. This is like something from a child's nightmare. I don't know what is going on in this game, but it looks like Classic's about to take him out.
Well, I mean, you've got the Chef Emerald Protoss army. He's just gone for a little bit of everything, and that Stargate's going to get killed too, so good luck with your air game again. That Prism, you can't really do much juggling. If he right-clicks on that, he's going to fight at the shield battery, but everything taking so much damage so fast, and the Guardian Shield on the defensive end for Classic is still really nice as those Phoenix dominate the air battle in probes versus Stalkers. Not going to go their way. Classic takes the game, and with that, the lead in this best of 5.
That was just wild.
What a game.
I mean, those decision trees that we saw from those two, it's crazy. I almost feel like we were just watching them pull out their dice bags and they're like, okay, what's the least likely thing
What do you think I wouldn't do? What's the worst thing I could do?
What do you think I wouldn't do? This was basically Protoss versus Protoss right now is a game of truth or dare.
And it looks like herO likes to play dare.
Oh, yes, absolutely every time. Classic tries to play truth, but it's hard against herO.
Yeah, indubitably. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go to a quick break before we get into game number 4. We'll be right back. You're watching the StarCraft 2 World Championship Series. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Starcraft 2 World Championship Series. We are here in the midst of a PvP Group C, the elimination match. One of the best Korean Protosses on planet Earth will be eliminated from the round of 16. And things are looking pretty tough for herO right now, Artosis.
Yeah, they are. He is down 1-2. There's been so many mind games, so much back and forth between the two. I feel like they're actually quite evenly matched. So will Classic finish him off here? It's hard to say.
Yeah, I mean, the mind games for sure being brought out. We had possibly one of the best stasis wards of all time in that last match, but it wasn't enough. Tragically, it's time to get into it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go to Game 4 of herO versus Classic. In the upper left, the red Protoss player needs to bring it back. Can he do it? He is.
Triumphant Song Gaming, herO.
His opponent, who was able to make a deft win despite having all of his probes frozen in time, he is.
Makers, Classic.
I tell you, it's crazy some of the clutch calls that these two have made against each other already. Just, I mean, even some of the calls that they've made that were wrong were really smart, you know? And the only reason that they turned out to be wrong is because their opponent is like a level ahead of that, you know?
You know what they say, Artosis? Bad decisions are bad until someone somehow makes it work, and then it's the most genius play of all time. Continually building Stargates when your opponent has the Phoenix lead. I mean, it worked on Disco Bloodbath, and it was like, well, why on earth would anybody do this? Boom, all of a sudden you've won, and then you see why people don't always do that. On the last game, where he spent quite a bit of money on Stargates that did not do anything for him.
Well, we'll see if we have any Stargate shenanigans this time. Of course, we see Classic has a probe out on the map, ready to hide a pylon.
Yeah, there's been a nice little bit of probe fisticuffs in the beginnings of these games, looking for every possible way to edge out an advantage, distract your opponent, just generally be annoying. That was one of like the first things when StarCraft 2 first came out 30 years ago, and everybody was like, oh man, look at the way that Huck puts that probe on that mineral line, like just denying that mineral patch just for a few seconds. Every resource is so valuable, and here we see in a match where everything is on the line, and as you were talking about, two players looking towards military service soon. They'll only have so many opportunities left to wow and dazzle the denizens of the StarCraft universe, and here we have again another Stargate out on the map, Artosis.
Meanwhile, herO with the Robo in his main base, so not proxied or anything, but I wouldn't be surprised if this does turn into just a Prism 3-gate type of situation, especially considering it's in the main, much less likely to see the Immortal. But of course, the Stargate, it does give you some counterplay.
Yeah, the probe we were just being shown as well for herO in the corner of the map. You're either looking for a proxy or you're thinking about hiding something that works with a robotics facility, perhaps a Twilight Council and a Dark Shrine, but that is not what it will be today. These two adepts trying to bully back that stalker, but his friend will show up and they will have to depart, Artosis.
Yeah, that Shade gonna go ahead and finish, but ready up at the top of
Does he
that
have
ramp.
something right next to where that Stargate is? He doesn't see it, I think, on the low ground. I think I see a little red dot.
Oh
on the mini
gosh,
map.
you
I might be
right.
crazy.
Yeah, no, there is a little red dot there. But you're right, he did not
oh
see it.
Oh boy, there you go.
He might have even like tried to click there and he just kind of misclicked, but look, he sees the Stargate, so he should be able to start to prepare, but this is hitting right away, and we don't have anything.
Well, an Oracle walks in and says, well met to an unprotected mineral line. Probes are going to start to drop, but of course that means they're also not mining while they run away. Even getting a sentry there would be nice. The Stalker is going to push it back as Oracles are armored units now, so that is going to be the unit of choice to push it away. Like the pickup with the Warp Prism, there you can use that to try and dodge those Oracle hits.
Well, now it's time to see what herO can get done. It's a 4-gate Robo. He leaves a couple sentries at home as his anti-Oracle protection. Of course, we see Classic throwing down some shield batteries with his Stalkers, but is that going to be enough with the Prism Micro? herO is amazing at Micro.
He's expecting the attack. I mean, coming over here to shut down the Stargate is going to give plenty of time to Classic to set up that defense. So I like it more and more, right? He's got the natural expansion going. So if he can make that defense, he's going to be in a phenomenal position since herO doesn't seem to be thinking about an expansion. He's just going to get an Immortal out, adding additional pylons, presumably for Warpins.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. He's not really moving that quickly, which is allowing Classic to get quite a bit out. That Immortal adds so many chances to him holding on against this. You can see how defensive Classic's playing right now as well.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I mean, there's the world where you're basically saying, okay, hit me as hard as you can, and that's it. You're going to put the whole game on you attacking me. And Raynor's words echo in my mind. Like, I just need to defend herO's attacks. I just need to defend whatever he's going to bring at me, and if I can do that, I am going to win this game. So far, that's what it looks like. If he just takes a Nexus here, it is significantly later than his opponent. Classic should be able to get ahead economically regardless.
Well, they were on the same probe count because Classic was playing so defensively, but as he sees that Nexus go down, probe production immediately, he's going to start pulling ahead economically here. And he's already got some great defensive structures, so I don't feel like he's too afraid of any sort of push.
No, and yeah, exactly right, because he'd already invested into that, so as he takes that worker count lead, he's not going to be as worried about something coming back towards him. Gets the Observer picked off, that's very nice. Twilight Council boots up for him, and herO's going to send that Warp Prism out. It was just the Oracle that came out, so he's not really worried about his Prism getting sniped. And he can still get a lot done with this. Shotgunning the Immortals out of that Prism, they do blow stuff up pretty efficiently.
Yeah, no doubt about that. You can use that with a lot of different micro moves here. Obviously, the Stargate being picked off, there's no Phoenix to actually push it back.
Yeah, and he's just going to roll on up. The Sentries on their own aren't going to really do a whole lot here. The Stalkers are going to come down, and well, how about that? herO doing it again, by the way, Artosis. As this Prism rolls up, he's going double Stargate. I can only ask, but why? And we have a Twilight Council going for resonating glaives on the part of Classic.
These two are just wild. Look at this now. The drop coming out does push him back for now. But yeah, the fact that it's going to be glaives versus double Stargate, like how do these even measure up against each other? You never see these builds hit because, well, frankly, the double Stargate in the middle of the map after the failed 4-gate Prism into expansion is not a real build as far as I know.
Trying to understand the words that you just strung together, Artosis, is like trying to describe this series. It just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but it has been crazy and wild. And Double Phoenix production is on the way, doing some fancy pants Prism Micro with the Immortals. And it feels weird though, right? Because there's kind of, as the army supply gets bigger, oh my goodness, he's going to see this. Okay, well, he saw the pylon earlier. He finds the Stargates. herO, no!
Oh, just brutal. I mean, maybe he can do something over here, Microwave. Look at that. He actually lifts the Immortal up, and he's destroying the Stalkers.
Do you marry the Prism to these Stargates once you kill the Immortal then?
I think you do.
All right, he is.
Hell yeah.
Okay, well,
he supply blocked from that as well, so I guess this doesn't actually do anything.
Well, that is,
and
that is demoralizing.
Hold on, lose probes, you can build Phoenixes.
Well, you can't build two. He's like, kill a few more.
Oh my God, another one of the best stasis swords of all time.
Kira's like, so that's what that feels like. Trapped in time.
Well,
and now he's like, all right, I'm gonna bring everything over here because I am not interested in what you are offering me in this game today, sir. Goodbye, Pylon. Goodbye, Stargates. And he's got, what is it, just a few of the Phoenix on the other side of the map, so not really a whole lot two Phoenix are gonna do on their own.
Certainly not, but this army moving across the map for Classic, having glaives done already, definitely makes it really, really scary. He's got those Immortals in there. He's got quite a bit of Sentry energy as well.
Has to be careful with the poking he was doing there, too. These Phoenix are going to drag over the army, but the Immortal Barrier may not be available for a head-to-head fight now. Guardian Shield gets popped. The Depths are just going to shade right on top of everything. The shield batteries are not ready yet. Lifts up one of Classic's Immortals, trying to defend against this. The probes are coming off the line. Another big warp, and the Depths are going to come over here. 12+ probes have been destroyed, and while the shield battery is finally completed, I think there just might be too many units here for Classic looking to eliminate herO from the WCS Global Finals. It seems like he's going to be able to do it. He's got the probes inside of the main. The rest of the army is at the natural, and that robotics wave is not going to finish in time. That Nexus will be obliterated. The Immortal is going to die, and with that, so shall herO. GG Classic! moves on to the decider with a 3-1 victory over herO.
Yeah, and that means it is the end of the tournament for herO. herO is saying he's going to go to the military soon. This is likely his last big event. And I got to say that it's sad to see him go. Congrats to Classic, of course, for staying in the tournament. But herO has been around as a StarCraft 2 professional gamer since 2012. He's been one of the strongest players in the world since that time. He's gotten second at the IM World Championship. He's won 3 individual IMs. He's